Welcome back to Heal, a podcast for Change by Fire, healing, empowering, accepting, and living. I'm Julie Piccone, founder of Change by Fire and the Arizona Walk of Courage, and I am one of your hosts.
And my name is Lori Janik, and I'm a 15-year burn advocate, social worker, and current trauma and grief therapist.
It has been such a pleasure to delve into these different healing modalities over the last few weeks and really look at the support that Change by Fire provides from an alternative healing perspective. Are you ready to delve into another healing modality around the concept of massage therapy? Let's get healing.
So last episode, we talked a little bit about hypnotherapy with Linda Bennett and really just ways to kind of connect with those inner recesses of your mind, exploring subconscious, just the powers of mind and body together to just shift feelings, behaviors. She taught us a little bit about the waterfall, which I don't know if any of you have reached out to receive your copy of the waterfall, but that technique of just exploring kind of further washing away difficulties in life. And I don't know, like with regards to our conversation with Linda and just those powers of the subconscious, like have you been able to utilize or apply anything in her conversations?
Yes, actually I have. So I love hypnotherapy. And so I do a lot of guided meditations, different hypnotherapies, kind of the same concept. So usually every night before I go to bed, I get my little phone, I get my app for Insight Timer, and I turn on some type of guided meditation so that it's just continually reprogramming my subconscious. Even while I'm sleeping, our brains are still listening, especially our subconscious. And so it's something that I do, and I still do. I think I have like 450 check-ins on Insight Timer.
I love that you utilize that as well. That is such a valuable app and tool. I think it's when we can find something that really fits and connects and works well with ourselves, our lives, our routines, and there's so many options on that. That's also a fave of mine.
Yeah.
I would say definitely something that I've really taken away from that episode last was just that idea of kind of metaphors and how much of our body and our brain speaks in metaphors and the power of really kind of restoring maybe how you have perceived things or taken things into the past and that opportunity to restore into the future.
Well, and especially with our dreams. So we dream in metaphorical like states. And so sometimes we have this dream that we don't even understand. Why am I dreaming about this? But usually there's a metaphoric message in there. And so during some of my training with Linda, she taught us about dreams and metaphors and how to try to remember your dreams so that you can kind of do that. So we'll have to talk about that in a future episode because it's very powerful, especially when we can kind of understand because our brains, when we're sleeping, we're processing through the events of the day.
Yeah, that's your REM sleep is literally when you dream or when you have nightmares, and it's your brain and your body literally trying to make sense of little pieces of information that are just floating around there. So there's little bits of truth amidst it, which that would be a really cool future episode.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, today we are so excited because we have another alternative healing therapist. We have Shannon Kilgren, and she's here with us today to talk about burn scar massage therapy. And she, this is probably a modality that a lot of our survivors probably utilize the most because they're very familiar with massage therapy and it works hand in hand with some of their scars and just really that support. And so I'm so excited to have you here today with us, Shannon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, I know you always like to start off, Lori, with the definition of things. And so I can't think that this episode will be any different.
That's the teacher in me. It's like, let's make sure people know what we're working with and what we're working about. So massage therapy, definition wise, it's really that kind of pressing, rubbing, manipulating your skin, muscles, ligaments, tendons. So, all the parts underneath your skin and above your bones. It's used to treat a variety of medical conditions, situations. It is not just the spa day pampering tool that people tend to think about. It truly can be a tool to reduce stress, to address pain relief, and it can alleviate a variety of emotional, mental, physical health concerns. So, anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, nerve pain, injury, strain, and for burn survivors, scar tissue, postoperative healing, flexibility.
Wow, that's a lot.
It
I
is a
didn't
lot
even realize the amount, but I like how you said it's not just that day spa.
because that's what people think about it. And
Mhm.
it's just like thinking beyond what something initially appears. And I think this is something we've learned throughout talking with several practitioners is it's just there's so much more than the word underneath the possibilities that these skills, these tools can offer.
Mhm, and massage therapy is one of the healing modalities that Change by Fire comes alongside burn survivors and helps to support and cover the cost of. And really, Shannon, I got to know Shannon, I wanna say it was about maybe 2 years ago, and I remember I was introduced to her by a burn survivor family. I
Hmm.
believe it was a burn survivor family, and, I remember her telling me that this little girl, that would go see her would say, she says that I have, like, magic hooves. My hands are like magic hooves. And I always thought to myself, like, that's so cool because it's kinda like a unicorn, like, they've got these hooves and so forth. And I got to know Shannon, and we utilize Shannon a lot
Mhm.
for a lot of our burn survivors, because she'll kind of travel a little around the Phoenix metro area. And so she's so great with kids and adults. And so I got to know Shannon. She's come to the Arizona Walk of Courage a couple times. And she just has this presence about her. She's very calming.
Mhm.
I went and saw her for a massage, and she's got a beautiful area that she does it in. And she also comes to our Equine Therapy and Wellness Day to really, obviously take part in that and just kind of show people what it's about,
Mhm.
because the massage is so powerful, especially for the burn survivors. So again, we're so happy to have you, and I'm so happy that Change by Fire connected with you a couple of years, and I got to meet you for the first time at the charity walk a couple of years ago.
Absolutely. I just think it's like the biggest like honor and privilege to work with this community because they're so vulnerable and I get to be a part of them, their journey there from beginning throughout and continuum. And it's just incredible for me. I walk out of each session with all my beautiful survivors feeling just so complete. And
Mm.
as a massage therapist, you kind of go on this journey. And literally, it's been a 14-year journey for me to find truly what it is. And that 2, almost 3 years ago, that little girl that came to me and called me magical unicorn hooves, it really is all because of her. She is my purpose and my energy
Mm.
for all of this.
I love that. I love that.
Well, Shannon, can you I know you just mentioned it, 14-year journey of kind of learning, discovery. How did you initially get started as a massage therapist? What led you to really embrace this particular modality of healing?
So way back, I was a gymnast, so I've always been intrigued with the body.
Mhm.
And then I took, my time out of gymnastics, got married, created a family, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And as my children got older, I really did want to have something that I could do. And naturally, I thought, ooh, you're going to go down the sport route, which I did. I went down that road because that's what I was familiar with. And I didn't feel the complete. So, I kind of veered here, there, a few many different little avenues, even oncology, which I'm still a big fan of because I try to do everything with purpose. So how I got into burn scar therapy and skin graft help is when I was still going through my gymnastics, because once you're a gymnast, you're kind of a diehard and you follow it. And I was going through, it was either Instagram or Facebook, and I stumbled upon this family that had a little girl that got injured, and she's a gymnast. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you have got to get in touch with this family." And I didn't even know why I needed to do this, but I had this like anxiety, like rush that I needed to help. I needed to find her, and how could I do this? And I'm such a like gremlin, and I searched and I searched, and I mean, I do 120% of my everything. So, of course, I found her, and these worlds that I've been looking for my whole life, from 14 years of massage therapy, going to the sport route and burn community, it meshed together. Honestly, the best of both worlds. So I started with her being little magical unicorn hooves to her. And I'm like, I am going to get this girl back out on that floor because I want to go and watch. And cute little side story is she is at the gym that I used to coach at.
No
So
way.
it is, it's so cute. And her coaches are my athletes, which kind of makes me feel old, but also just puts everything into perspective of the growth that we are as from every day forward. We grow, grow, grow. So I've seen the like space of time and where I am now and how I circle back to my playground of my original foundation of gymnastics.
Mm.
So I see the progress of this particular survivor, and she's getting better and better and better. And mom told me once she's getting back into gym and she will be competing. And I'm like, I'm there. So, I go to her gym meets, and in fact, she was in one last night, and she's elevated to the next level. So, what I do as a therapist, as a burn scar therapist, as a graft therapist is it's more than just having a body on my table. I connect with these people, all my survivors, and I, maybe 10-ish people that I work with. And I don't work with many because it's not about the riches of fun tickets slash money. It's more the riches of my heart and how we can get through that session.
Like the ultimate connection right here. 'Cause when I think of massage, I think of like touch and like the power of like your body and body connection. But you're talking really about, I mean, my favorite word, people will know, is that cognitive somatic connection, that mind and body connection, which is what you're talking about. It's like this is a calling, this is a heart space, this is kind of a opportunity to really move people through their journey, and you've been able to have a whole form of connection in your
Mhm.
journey to get here and into this space and to see people and that level of healing.
Well, and I think it was just so, divinely timed,
Mm,
just based off of the connections. The girl works out at the same gym that she used to coach at, and yet the athletes that are helping her, get through her gymnastics and, perform, etcetera,
mm.
Shannon had a
Yeah,
connection to them.
that is
So
crazy.
it's all kind of, this little world that's all very connected.
Love it.
Talk about universal alignment, you
Mhm.
know? I,
Absolutely.
and you just kind of walk through your space, and if you blink, you'll miss it. So these opportunities are really handed to you, and it's what you do with it that counts the most. And everything that I do in my life, from personal things to my practice is all meant with purpose. I
Mm.
can't go a day without doing a purposeful intention, an act of mindfulness. It's to get you through because we all struggle with something, and it's those little things that get you to the next step or level.
Well, and one of the greatest mindsets is of being of service and of value to others. And you definitely are in, the way you show up in life, the way you show up in your
Mhm.
practice, especially around the burn survivors. You're not just there to give them a massage, you're there to connect with them,
Mhm.
create the safe space, work on their bodies, help their scars, help them in their healing, but just heal from a whole body
Mhm.
perspective, which is incredible.
Yes, because their scars are just not visually what you see. Their scars are also mentally.
Mhm.
So it's not the normal setup, and it's not a protocol that I can follow. And to know me would to be, oh, she's a control freak. But honestly, I have been able to simmer it down and relax. And before all this, my daughter said, "Well, did you write your notes? Do you have everything down?" And I said, "No, actually, I don't." I said, "I am going to go into this podcast as organically as I do into any of my survivors on my table, because there is no protocol when you're working with an injury such as burn and grafts, because you can't premeditate what you're going to do on this table. They are such delicate humans physically and mentally, and you can't go by a book that 50 other clients on a table can go by. So I throw that out, and along with that I throw out my control, my anxiety, my this, my that, and that is how I can create the space on the table. And in the beginning of doing that, it was totally mind blown to me that I couldn't follow a script. And
Mm.
it's incredible when you let all that control go, what then can be done.
I love that. So I have a question for you. What's been one of your favorite things, just in this journey that you've been able to do for both yourself as well as those that you massage?
Um, Probably it would really be creating and understanding the adaptability rather, of what the space will be. And they just I see a lot of people weekly, and no week is like the other. And it's just listening and understanding their needs at any given time.
I love that. Well, and that's such a great skill, not only from, performing and facilitating massages, but just in life.
Mhm.
Creating that safe space, when you're talking with people, whether it's family or children, coworkers. So I love that.
Well, whole aspect of relationship is really about attunement, and that truly sounds like something that you are offering to these survivors and individuals that come to see you. Is you're attuning to them, you're listening to them, you're validating them, you're letting them lead and guide with the stories of their mouths and the stories of their body to the places you need to go and be.
I love that.
So I know you talked, Shannon, about massage therapy supporting especially your way of kind of navigating things. It's not only just like physically manipulating and working with scars, but it's also just mentally and emotionally. And so how have you seen some of that? How could you describe that whole interconnection of, the body, the mental, the emotional that you do see with burn and trauma survivors?
Well, again, it's that journey. When I first meet a new survivor, they're so like hidden, and I can sense it, I can see it, I can feel it. And probably one of the coolest things about working with the touch is also gaining that trust.
Mm.
So I work a lot with, in my head, I call it the trust of touch. And when that happens on my table, I can see them mentally release. And sometimes a mental release for an individual is maybe going to be a cry. I've had many cry on my table.
Mm.
I have pediatrics, they giggle and they wiggle around a little bit. So that's a part of a mental release where they're starting to get that trust. And you really have to read the individual because they could be in so many different ages and in so many different places of distance or connect out of connection from their mind and body. It's sometimes they don't want to connect what their body is doing, so they'll drift away mentally. And that's part of it too, and you allow that. But also in my practice, I have a TV, and I will put on YouTube, and one of my pediatrics survivors likes to listen to ASMRs, and those are very relaxing, and some of them are a little strange, but, it works for him, and it gets him, to relax on the table, and we've come a very long way with, different uh, kind of wonky things that we come up with just to get a session done, because you can't do anything when you're so stressed out that your body can't relax, and then the tissues around the already injured tissues can't relax either. So that's how the trust of touch comes into play, mentally and physically.
So, with you being a burn scar massage therapist, what kind of training did you go through to really set yourself apart different than maybe an individual that maybe just has the basic training of massage therapy? Why would it be important for a burn survivor to go to somebody that's trained like you?
Well, definitely there is a huge difference, and I know this because I did it. I did, and I still do from time to time, a common Swedish massage or, a deep tissue, whichever modality of that kind. I've been on that side of it. The the teachings of burn scar massage therapy and skin graft therapy is so much more involved. So again, back when I started with magical unicorn corn hooves, um, I was like, okay, I need to look into some training and see where I can go for this. Luckily, it was offered on Zoom because we were part of the 2020 world. And, so even though she lives in Georgia, I was still able to take this class. So there is an individual out there that does offer a 5-week series of burn scar massage continuing educational classes. So I took that whole course, and I was all ready, and I got in there and did all that, and it's over time, I've been able to apply all the teachings because you never know what's coming around the corner for your next survivor.
Very nice.
Well, I think I know exactly the person you're referencing, the burn survivor herself that teaches scar massage work. Am I correct?
Jen Hartley?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's an amazing human. I have never sat down with her face to face. We've only ever met on an online situation, but and just an incredible individual, and um, I owe a lot to her.
Well, and I just love that aspect of you getting that training from someone who, like, not only is a massage therapist, but also is a survivor in that world as well. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of that, again, that whole
Yes.
connection continuum. With the burn survivors that you've worked with, what are some of the stories, the insights, the memorable pieces and parts of that level of connection and support that keep you going?
Well, I take a little bit from every single one of them, and it's almost like having your own children, like birthing your own children. You have your favorite parts of your birth experience. So, I have my favorite parts in my burn survivors. Like my first survivor, she's always going to hold that first place part in my heart.
Mm.
um you know and of course there's a bond with each and every one of my survivors. You have to bond, and it does naturally just happen, with me and them. um I worked with this little boy, and he would have to bring his fire trucks, of all things, with him on his table or on my table. And I would work around the fire trucks. And sometimes the fire truck would be part of my arm as I was, working on his
Mm-hmm.
hand. And, it's anything that gets you through. So I, I remember that part, or the cute little stories that you know they just come up with, and you just you take it to heart and you reply back, and you know uh, because sometimes when a burn survivor is on the table, they will bring up their injury because I'm working with their injury.
Mhm.
And this one little boy, at the time he was 3, and he said, my pillows popped. And that's not a normal response from a 3-year-old, but that was his normal. And I allowed that, and I heard him. And so we talked about it. And I said, "And what about your now pillows?" He's like, "Oh, they're great." So, that clued me into he wasn't afraid of pillows, until he got past that little part. So, whether it's from pillows popping to, um, somebody crying because they remembered another part of their event, and, we talk and we get through it. I am not at all a trauma therapist, but I'm ears and I can hear them.
Well, and you attune to them, you hear, you validate, you support. I think again, like this is such a huge reason why we love alternative therapy modalities so much is there's a whole nother level of connection you get from these providers that you can't always find in medical pharmacological places
Mm-hmm.
that you can find in things such as massage therapy, things such as hypnotherapy, such as those alternative elements. Is you get the people
Well, and
behind
that's
what's
why
really
it's
going on.
it's like these are complementary to what you're already going through.
Mhm.
You don't have to stop doing that if that's
Let's do
working for you.
both.
Let's do both. So we're looking at it from a whole body perspective.
Mhm.
Shanna, why do you think body work is just so powerful in healing?
It's the touch. It's simply just the touch. Especially with a burn survivor, they may feel that nobody wants to touch their skin, their
Mm,
leg, their arm, their heart.
Mm.
And um it is definitely something that is needed.
yeah. How have you seen burn survivors impacted both internally and externally, that utilize this type of bodywork massage on a regular basis? I know you mentioned
So
sometimes they come in and they're a little more, withdrawn and hidden. Have you seen that kind of change through this modality?
I have. So, one individual would always come in head down, hair very long to cover facial injury. And over the time, I've seen him go from, shrunken down to chest up, shoulders back. His hair is cut and he's actually talking to me a lot more.
Mm,
So to visually see that is amazing. On adults, and to me, it's still kind of a confusing situation because, a young child that gets injured, you'd think, okay, well, they're injured more than they were not. An adult can go through 20 years of their life and then get injured. So they're now like living less life injured than they did more life non. Um, but sometimes an adult burn survivor on my table, they walk in and they're down and they don't know what to expect. And they get on my table and they come off 10 feet taller and they just reach out for this giant bear hug onto me. And I'm like, whoa, because I am a massage therapist that does not like somebody touching me. It's weird. But I have learned that it's okay to receive these hugs from the people that I'm helping.
yeah, I can say for me, when you were talking about that, I was getting a visual when my mom was in the hospital. The doctors and nurses would come out, especially specifically the doctors after a surgery, and they'd be giving you this news. And, a lot of the time it was fairly good news. And so it was just this like absolute feeling of gratitude. We were like, I have to hug you. And a few of them had that same feeling of like, and I was like, nope, you're coming over here. I'm giving you a hug. But it was just this feeling and just this like overwhelming gratitude of like the service that you did or the news that you provided or that feeling of comfort. And so that's awesome that you've been able to kind of embrace it a little bit because I think sometimes it's like the ultimate compliment, especially in that aspect.
Yes, and naturally, I'm one that runs from hugs. But if I would run from that or reject or turn inward as they're out to give me that hug for a thank you, that would send such a confusing message. So I have learned to adapt to allowing myself to feel that through my ball of shieldness.
Yeah.
Well, and you're allowing that whole sense of like reciprocity where it's like you've built this sense of trust, this sense of connection, like on the table in the work you do. And like they're leaning in. It's like, okay, I'm going to lean and allow this too. And we get like this match of reciprocity where it's like we can both kind of tone each other's and pick up and take pieces of each other's energies with us. Cause really that's what hugs and touch do. Like there's, like, certain lengths of touch, especially with hugs, that you can really kind of take in a piece of someone else's energy, and what a great way to share and explore. Julie's
I'm
giving me this
sorry.
look, she's like,
I'm just
"I'm gonna hug her now."
No, no, I was thinking as you were talking about that, every morning before I take my son to school, he always gives me a hug.
Mhm.
And I usually, like, tell myself, like, I don't want a quick hug. I want, like, a good 4 or 5 breaths, and I can feel as I'm
Mhm.
hugging him, my body is just dropping down, it's become calming,
Yep.
and so I feel like there's a power in the hug, but I have people in my life that do not like hugs, and so every so often I get a hug and I think, "What did I do to get this hug?" I can't promise I won't hug you when I see you at the Arizona Walk of Courage. So,
Well,
you know.
I'm allowing. I
Mm,
am, my mother-in-law has tried for 35 years to get hugs out of me, and there are times when I must go, like, nuts and bolts in my head because I will just run over and hug her. But I honestly think it's my heart needing the other heart connection onto me. It's
mm,
it's when the hearts speak.
I love that.
yep,
I
absolutely.
love that. Well, thank you so much, Shannon, for your time, sharing your depth of knowledge in massage therapy, body healing work. I mean, just a powerful witness of really what we can do with body, mind, heart space together. And we look really forward to continued funding and support of burn and trauma survivors through whole body healing sports, just such as that you provide that burn scar massage work. And as part of every episode, this is probably one of my more favorite parts of every single episode is our takeaways, where we get to provide a takeaway and application, kind of a support technique on whatever we've been talking on. And would you have anything that you would like to share that maybe you've learned from your massage therapy work practices, perhaps a particular body manipulation technique or glimmer of wisdom that people could maybe take on and practice with them?
Probably the biggest would be to always honor that trust of touch and
Mm.
just reach out your hand to a survivor, uh, maybe on their arm, or shake their hand. Let them be seen. And when their skin grafts and scars are visible, pay attention. Just let them be seen.
I
I love
love
that.
that.
Yeah, I do too. We said that
Just
at the
let
same
them
time.
I know, just let them be seen. I mean, that's such a powerful statement when people show their true selves is just be seen.
Well, and I think back to the Arizona Walk of Courage, and the whole purpose of the Arizona Walk of Courage was to create this community of inclusion,
Mhm.
love, and healing, to create this awareness for burn survivors. And I remember a burn survivor had once told me that she was an adult woman and she'd go into the grocery store and people would stare at her. And she started to feel like this feeling of insecurity. And then at one point in time, she said, "You know what? Forget it. I'm going to wear shorts. I'm going to let them stare." And I thought to myself, you know, initially there's not a lot of people that, may have been around a burn survivor, there may not be familiar. And it's like I wanted to create this community where, if somebody saw somebody that had burn injuries or they had scars, that they didn't look at them in a certain way or treat them differently. And through the Arizona Walk of Courage, we have lots of burn survivors that come together
Mhm.
and, show off their scars and so forth. And so it's all about being seen.
Love that.
And Shannon, I wanted just to ask, your organization, how do people get in contact with you here that are local that maybe are burn survivors and they would like to take advantage of one of your special unicorn hooves massages? How can they
Well,
reach out to you?
they can definitely reach out to me. Like like you already mentioned, I will be at the walk, so I can
Yeah.
bring business cards. There's always Facebook. You can reach out to me. Uh, I could also give out my phone number. So many different ways. Social media is a great place. Can
Okay.
also be a curse at times, but
Sure thing. Do you have a specific business name that they would reach out to, or is it just your name on Facebook?
it's just my name on Facebook.
Okay.
But also my little practice. It's called the Body Mender, and I just work pretty much word of mouth. Uh, this family tells that family, and we just kind of go that way. Uh, I don't want lines out the door. That's never been
Mm,
my goal with it. Um, I I just want to connect the with the heart of the people,
awesome.
and yeah,
Well, wonderful. We definitely feel very confident when we refer burn survivors over to you that we know that you will take very good care of them. And the response and the feedback from each one of them has just been incredible.
Mhm.
So you definitely have a gift, and we're grateful at Change by Fire that we get to partner alongside you.
I'm so excited, and it really is absolutely a privilege to be part of the community, part of Changed by Fire. I I can't say anything more. It's just like the most magical, amazing part of my life.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And for our listeners, if you're wanting to learn more about Change by Fire, visit our website at www.changedbyfire.org. You can also visit us on Facebook and Instagram under Change by Fire. You can learn a little bit about the healing modalities we provide. And if you're looking at getting some support for burn scar massage therapy, you can reach out to Shannon directly on her social media, or you can also reach out to us and we'd be happy to put you in contact with her.
So until next time, we encourage you to heal. Hands on practices. Where can you insert them? Engage in movement in you. Allow for connections to happen. Connections with yourself, connections with others. And let yourself heal wholly and fully. We'll see you soon.